How gratifying is it to see guys in your room express the same sort of disappointment or outrage, or if you don't want to be here, don't be here, that they've taken ownership of this thing further along perhaps than when you got here?
Well, I haven't really talked to them much yet, so I don't know what's been said, but we certainly have something to rally around.
John, Texier played all center up in Traverse City. Will he start at center for you here in camp?
I'm not sure.
You know.
Sorry. Along those same lines, 2 years ago you went into a season with Pierre-Luc Dubois at wing and didn't plan to play him at center until later. And he ended up taking over out of necessity after like a month. So going through that and seeing how he handled that, does that apply at all, or does it make it easier, I guess, when you look at a guy like Texier as a guy who might potentially play center?
Well, each player is different. I've had a conversation with Tex. So yeah, I'm really not sure. I'm not trying to not give you an answer. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. More than likely, as camp starts, Tex will be on wing. But we'll see. Again, like with Luke, we weren't planning to use him at center, and through lack of play by some centers, we put him there. And so we're just going to go about our business. It's a number of decisions have to be made as far as where people fit with some of the encouraging youth that we have coming here. So we'll just go about our business, and we'll see where it goes as camp goes along.
Hey, John. I want to ask about goalie. Obviously, a lot of people here haven't seen Elvis. They don't know much about him. Maybe saw him play on television in the Worlds or something like that. But what's your comfort going into the year in goal? Those two guys in particular, where you think they can take this team?
Yeah, with Elvis, I've seen him play once, and that was in Traverse City. And very athletic, highly competitive. Talking to Manny, he's been doing his work with Manny prior to coming to the city here and prior to Traverse. Highly competitive. So he's gonna get an opportunity during camp, and we'll find out more about him then. With Corpy, we obviously know Corpy better. As I said, I think with Portsy here earlier this summer, Corpy has played better when he has played more. So we'll see. There's nothing. I try to stay open-minded as far as, especially that position. That's the big question mark, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Where do we go? We're going to keep open-minded, give him some time, and this Finnish goalie. I just can't. I don't know how to pronounce his name right now, so I won't try. I thought the game I watched him play in Traverse City played very well also. So we're going to let it play out and see where we go.
Vehviläinen.
How do you say it?
Vehviläinen.
Okay.
This was a little easier. Adam Jardy on the left or on the center.
John, how do you hope to replace the scoring production of losing a guy like Panarin?
Oh, I mean, it's opportunity for the people. I thought the signing by Jarmo and the staff with Gus, it goes under the radar as it usually does. I think that some of the signings Jarmo has brought to us in free agency have gone under the radar, but have been very important players. He's a pretty important guy, 50-point guy. Hopefully other guys take more strides and continue to get better as players. Wenny, hopefully he steps up and finds his way. So there's a lot of different things that can happen. So I mean, Brett's a very good player. He's a game breaker, and I'm not going to sit here and say that's a hole. But it just gives other people opportunity to fill that. And I feel very comfortable where we're going about with some of our young kids that can do that.
Mark, third, the right.
With so many youngsters that could potentially hit the lineup, I'm always curious about the trust. Is that something that you would kind of have to adjust, knowing that they're going to make mistakes if they make your lineup?
Well, each year that goes by, especially for me, the last 2 years, this league has turned into just mistakes. It is a game of mistakes, and we used to say that early on. At least I did. All coaches do, but the game it is. I think you have to coach differently with so many kids in the lineup, and just the way the game is played right now. You can't get too crazy about trying to correct every mistake. So I think that's how we try to go about it. You almost want some mistakes to happen, and I think and you give them an opportunity to try to correct it. You're not always coaching it out of them. You're trying to give them an opportunity to correct it themselves. The mistake that is made all the time, every time, and that keeps on coming at you, those are the ones get under a coach's skin. But as far as mistakes made, we want them to try things. We want them to express themselves. And if mistakes are made, we just try to move by it and try to learn from it.
Hedge, left.
This organization over the last, 7 or 8 years, but especially the last 3 or 4, has really made some strides, obviously, making, the playoffs, second round, all that, 3 years in a row. I think there's some that look at this team and expect a backstep a little bit because of what happened. How important is it for you guys to not let that happen?
Yeah, I really don't give a shit about what people say as far as what they think is going to happen with the team. It almost... I don't read it, but I have everybody that I see tell me about what they've read. It's put a huge chip on my shoulder before it's even started here. Usually I have a chip on my shoulder about something else, about the conditioning of the team, or this guy wasn't ready, or whatever. Maybe I'm fighting with Yarmo. I don't know. It could be a number of things. But this one here, it's in place and has been in place for me for a number of weeks now as people talk at me. So we're going to go about our business the way we think we need to go about it. It almost gives you a really good push into that mentality of just staying with one another here in the locker room and getting about it. And that's how we're going to try to do it here. And I have a tremendous amount of confidence in the core of this group and I think the right type of arrogance that we displayed, albeit we don't get out of the second round, but I thought we played some really good hockey even in that second round when we were eliminated. I just don't want us to lose that. And we just got to close our ears and just worry about ourselves and go about our business the right way.
Mitch, front left.
Hey, John, you mentioned Wenny. Who else in your mind needs to step up and play better to fill that scoring void?
Everybody. And listen, and I'm not going to spend, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not going to spend, after today, I'm not spending another minute talking about the players that left. I will tell you I have a tremendous amount of respect for all 3 of them. Through the craziness of our season last year, how it was presented right at the beginning of camp, what was going to happen, and we lived through it together. They handled themselves the proper way, and they're really good players. And I wish them nothing but the best. So I'm not speaking another word on them. With Brett, in finishing this answer, not one particular person can do the things Brett does. You do it by a group of players stepping up. And so in a roundabout way, in answering your question, I think everybody needs to continue to improve. We have players that are young enough and that are still learning that need to expect that out of themselves. If we're happy about the progress of this team, we didn't get out of the second round though last year, so we're going to have to improve, and so that's incumbent upon everybody to have that type of mindset. That answer your question? Okay.
Michael, back right.
John, what's a Blue Jacket? And I'm not trying to be cheeky. It's just in the framework of we want Blue Jackets here. We've heard from management and from coaches and from other
Well,
players. How would
I'm
you-
not going to, I can give you, I can go on forever what I think details a player and how we're trying to
You don't
play.
have to do forever, like just
Yeah,
a
but
minute and
no,
a half would be
But
fine.
what I'm telling you is, I think one of the most important things, if you want to keep on making strides as an individual, and more importantly as a team, and on top of that as an organization, right on through, it's you want to be here, and that's what I am very comfortable and really happy about. I'm looking forward to this year because they want to be here. They want to be in the city. That's really important as we keep on pushing through here. And it was told to us right away, first day last year, I don't want to be here after this year in a number of different ways. Not this year. There's none of that around, and I think that really, it can galvanize you to be a better person and a better player when you're happy about where you're at, who you're doing it with. And the latter, most importantly, who you're doing it with, because it is a team sport.
Jeff Clay.
You're saying you were told on day one of last season that those players were not interested in being here beyond that season?
Shit, Clay, we've gone over that. We went over that all last year, yeah. Yeah.
Craig, front left.
What's the importance of having Zach in camp? And also, you alluded to about not having any contract squabbles this year in your locker room.
Yeah, yeah. It's there's a kid that I had talked prior. I had talked to him. I've talked to him 3 times over the summer, and there wasn't a doubt in his mind whether it gets done or not. There wasn't a doubt in his mind he was going to be here, and that's what I appreciate. And because he wants to be here, he wants to be with his teammates. And again, to answer and the last question there, being with the right people, wanting to be with the people, that's so important to a team concept. And yeah, so I think, and I don't want to get into the business end of it, but I think it's a really good situation for him as far as having 3 more years here to keep on progressing and keep on learning the game with the people that he likes having around him. And I'm thrilled that he's here. He's a huge part to this team and organization. And I think out of a player that has progressed, you're always talking about players progressing. He's made huge strides in some of the things we've asked of him and some of the way we've kind of pushed at him. I think he's grown up really quickly here, and I just think there's so much more there, and I'm really anxious to watch that.
Allison.
John, you've taken this team through a couple evolutions, turning the defense into your engine, the offensive creativity. Are there wrinkles or new things to the on-ice identity you want to bring to the team this season?
Yeah, I think in a general term, Allison, that I think you go to some inexperience in our goal, whoever it may be, 1, 2, 3, I'm not sure where it all falls, but there is some inexperience there. We're not going to hide from that. I think we have to change a bit our style in order for them to understand the league. Corpy's been in the league for played some games with the other 2 guys. Size of the rink and all that, they have to get used to that. I think we've got to be above the puck, and we've got to be thinking about a little bit more defense and trying to create our offense out of transition. The game of hockey is transition. That's what the game is. It's just, where do you transition from? So we're going to really concentrate about being above that puck, trying to let these guys feel very comfortable that we have numbers back and not get into the odd man rushes. And, we changed our style in the playoffs versus Tampa. So I think it really feeds nice into how we're going to try to approach it as we start this year.
Time for one more from Torch. Lori.
Coach, you talk about it being a league of mistakes. As a coach, does that mean that you have to be more willing to try new things, or do you almost have to double down on a philosophy and get your guys to that place?
No, I think, Lori, that the way I'd answer that is it's not doubling down. It's allowing them. It's kind of almost the opposite. It's allowing them to live through it, and it's been a very difficult progression for me, because I used to be that guy that you dot every damn I and T, and you almost turn them into robots. The puck's here, you're there, and the game isn't played that way, especially now. So I think you need to let them go a little bit, and live through some of those mistakes without thinking they're going to be browbeated when they come to the bench. And I think players develop quicker when they try to figure it out on their own a little bit. I say again, but if it's constantly the same thing, then that's when we have to step in. So, it's a different game. It's a different game. It's changed so much here, for me, especially the last 3 years, is that you need to join in with them a little bit. They'll be disciplined at certain times when it needs to be, but it's not always looking for that. It's not always looking for the mistakes. You kind of have to go the other way. And, so we'll see where it goes.
Thanks, Torts.
Okay. Thanks, guys.